welcome to another episode of Airsoft Games V, and today we have an unboxing / quick review of the CYMA CM.041B, or I believe the MP5A4 with a rail system. Okay, box, picture the gun, grand, turn it over, you have just basic, like, brief of the gun, saying the velocity, how much it weighs, including battery length, rounds per second, and magazine size. Inside the box, don't worry, you will get the gun. I just have it outside because it can't fit in the box as is with the stuff I have on it. Anyway, in the box you get a Chinglish manual, and yes, I do mean Chinglish, on how to operate and functions of the gun. And there is an explosion view of parts, so that's kind of handy. You get a little target for shooting, and just an example of the FPS it shoots at from the place I got it. When I got it, it was against Irish law regulations feet per second wise, but I have downgraded it, so it is legal. In the box you will get the gun, you will get a standard MP5 flash hider, which when you take off exposes 14mm counterclockwise threads. This is just a thread protector. So yep, that aside, you do get a vertical foregrip, which is actually pretty solid, to be honest. You get a 260 or 270 round high capacity magazine, metal, for those that like metal things. You get a 8.4 volt 1200 milliamp battery, which is alright. I personally recommend the LiPos, but that's just me. You get a charger for the battery, and that is pretty much it. Now I'm going to cut this and get the gun. Gonna talk about the gun, work our way back to front. We have a full fixed stock, which is made out of an ABS plastic. Has a slightly rubberized butt pad, and this is where the battery also goes as well. I'm going to show you how to install the battery. You push down on this bit and pull down. It will pull off, well, drop off, and you pull out the battery connections. And I am aware these are Tamiya, but I'll be changing them to Dean's. And you just connect them up, plug in your battery, push it in, and you're ready to go. Now this is a very big battery compartment, so you can fit a massive battery in there if you wish. And to close it, you do it in reverse. You have roughly from there to there of much battery space. Just show for size-wise how much an 8.4 volt fits in. You have that much room to work with. Could easily get, I'd say, a 9.9 volt in, no problem. Maybe a 10.8, maybe, don't quote me on that, but you could get yourself a 9.6, like 3300 mAh battery in there, no problem. Anyway, we have a ABS plastic lower receiver, a aluminium upper receiver, we have a ambidextrous selector switch, safe, semi, full auto, the other side. So that's handy for both left and right hand shooters. The gun originally comes with different rail covers, not these ones here. I just have these ones on because I rather them. And it comes with a vertical foregrip as well. There are only 2 sling points on this AEG. You have one right here, I don't know if you can see it, and you have one right here. Although that's a bit noisy, I find that's probably the noisiest part to the gun, that and the battery wobbling in the gun. But if you get a bigger battery, you won't have that wobble, or if you, I don't know, put something there on either side to stop the rattle. Anyway, you have metal sights front and rear. The charging handle is also metal and is functional. This is a version 2 gearbox with a long type motor. I believe it is a 7mm gearbox. It has a 229 or 254-55mm inner barrel. The inner barrel literally cuts off to there and starts roughly about there as well, maybe about there. So it's a small barrel, but it gets the job done. The charging handle, you can do the HK slap all day if you want, but I do not recommend it because the chance of it breaking is high, but also not high as well, because when I look at it, I see that it is actually very well constructed. Once again, I apologise, I apologise for the light as it's not very bright in here, but when you pull back the charging handle and lock it up, you have this hole here, and that shows I think a 1mm grub screw, which looking at it, when you take out, you can actually pull out the charging handle. So that tells me it can be replaced or just taken off if that's what you want to do. This gun is actually freaking amazing for the price, like quality wise. I know CYMA is considered cheap, cheerful, but I consider CYMA cheap, cheerful and work. That's simply it. CYMA works. Internally wise, more kind of just out there. It's not the best, but it works. It will last a long time. CYMA, to me, CYMA are just tanks of guns. They will go on forever and just last until you break them. Like, from what I've seen of CYMA, the only way they'll break is if you touch them, or I don't know, if you somehow drop a freaking tank on it or something. Their pistons are tanks. The motors are alright, they're good, but they're alright. XYT gears, so not fast rate of fire, but it will pull, I believe, an M140 to M150 spring. It comes with an M130 in it, so I believe it would pull an M150, possibly even an M160 if you have a decent motor. Has a 3/4 port cylinder. I think I said it, I do believe it is a 7mm gearbox. I did some mods myself when I was downgrading it. I just did the shimming a tiny bit, like the tiniest bit, because there was none on the bevel gear and there was only one on the spur gear, so I fixed that and just raised them up a little bit. I also put Teflon tape around the cylinder head to increase the compression and consistency. There's about 5 to 7 feet per second, 5 to 6 feet per second difference. On average it is 315 to 318 on average. There has been a few shots that were like 314 and some that are like 319, but on average it's 315 to 318. So I'm just going to say there's a 5 feet per second consistency. Like I said, that's all stock. Other than that, everything is stock on it, and I plan to keep it stock for a while. But then again, I have a habit of upgrading or modding every single gun I own. So far, this and the AUG and one other AK I have are stock, but for how long I haven't a clue. So now I'm probably going to cut to the chrono or the shooting test, whichever. So yeah. And now we are going to chrono the MP5. I'm using 0.2 gram BBs. Pop-up is off. 315.8, 315.5, 316.2, 317.3, 315, and I'm out. So it is 315 to 318 feet per second. Of course, Irish laws under 328 feet per second, so it is legal, like I did say. And welcome back, and now we are going to shoot this MP5. I have the hop-up set to how I desire. Jim Bob is, if I remember correctly, 145 or 147 foot away. So yeah, let's give it a go. Hit. miss, but went over, hit, 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 miss, hit, 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 well, one miss. I think one miss there as well. They were all hits, but one just barely dropped short, as in like it just hit the very bottom of them. Full auto. Hit. 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 And that is enough shooting, just for now anyway. You can see that the performance is decent enough on it, and one thing I'd like to point out, yes, I did change the silencer purely because the foam in the other silencer was actually off and hitting the BB, so the BB would just drop down. But anyway, that's nothing to do with the gun, it was just the foam in the silencer. I just changed the silencer. So as you can see, it can hit a target, human-sized target, well, half a human-sized target, at 145 plus foot with 0.25 gram BBs. The rate of fire lacks, but then again, I was using the 8.4 volt it came with purely because I don't have my lipos wired to Tamiya connections. I have them to Dean's, which I'm going to change this to, so when that happens the rate of fire will go up a little bit. So in my opinion, the only thing this is lacking is the rate of fire, but all in all, it's actually a fantastic gun. The rate of fire is realistic to the gun itself. At, I think the real steel shoots 850 rounds per minute. This is around 9 rounds per second, so it's like a little bit over, but not by a lot, so it's near enough. I think this is actually a great gun. It's great for CQB, great for field, purely because it has range, it has accuracy, obviously all of which can be improved considering that it is just a stock gun. But as you can see, like shooting on a human-sized target at that distance, a few misses, but not a lot. Like I'd say out of, I don't know, 40 rounds I shot, there's 5 or 6 misses, and there was more misses on full semi than full auto. But then again, like I said, that was with 2 5 gram BBs, not 0.2s. Most people use 0.2s. Well, most people are able to afford 0.2s, so 0.2s are the middle ground. Anyway, that's just a broad review of this gun. I hope this helped you if you're considering buying this. I personally recommend this. This is probably going to be very commonly used by me. How long it will remain stock, I don't know. I have a habit of upgrading guns the second I get them, but I'll try and leave it stock for a while because I do not have the money. But anyway, this is a fantastic gun. I highly recommend it if you like MP5s or just after something new or different, something that you didn't have before. Highly recommend this, and please like, share, subscribe, etc., all that good stuff, and thanks for watching.